Okay. Um. So this video is about the Simpsons, and lately there's been a ton of controversy over the Simpsons. You know, over a ton of controversy over the character of Apu Hasapina Pedalon. I think that's his name, and you know. This character has been around for nearly 30 years. I believe the first appearance of this character was way back in 1990. So that's like 28 years. So this character has been around for 28 years. No one said shit about this character. No one was offended. People were just fine with this character. They loved it. They loved Apu. And The Simpsons had this reputation as one of the greatest shows of all time back in the day. People loved this character. They had no problem with it. Indian Americans had no problem with this character. This character has been around for 28 years. No one said shit. It wasn't offensive. People loved it. And now all of a sudden in the last year, we have these PC busybodies. All of a sudden, just in the last year, all of a sudden, a character that has been around for like 28 years, that didn't offend anybody, is now all of a sudden so offensive, and people are making documentaries about Apu, about how offensive he is, and how he's this offensive, awful, negative stereotype, and about how Apu is voiced by a white Jewish actor, so it's offensive, and it's and all this hand-wringing by these PC Nazis over this character, a character that has been around for 20 years, no one has complained about, only in last year. I don't want to go much into Apu because both T.J. Cook and Devin Tracy, also known as the Amazing Atheists, they have both made videos about this subject. Those videos, they described it and put it better than I have, and both of them put it better than I ever could. So I would recommend that you check out search the videos by T.J. Cook and by Devin Tracy, Atheism is Unstoppable, about Apu, and they both make excellent points. They both describe this controversy much better than I ever could. Although I would like to add that these same people who are so offended by Apu, they have no problem whatsoever being offended by Ned Flanders. They have no problem with Ned Flanders being this one-dimensional stereotype of Christians. And I'm not even a Christian, I'm an agnostic. So, but I do think that's inconsistent and that's ridiculous that these same people who are so offended by Apu have no problem whatsoever with Ned Flanders and the one-dimensional negative stereotypes of Christians on The Simpsons. But whatever. I'm not even a Christian myself, so I don't care if it's a negative stereotype or what. I think The Simpsons, the characters on that show are supposed to be stereotypes. It's meant to be satire. It's not meant to be taken so fucking seriously. How about having a fucking sense of humor? These, millennial PC Nazis don't even have that. It's like Mel Brooks once said, political correctness kills comedy. And this whole controversy reminds me of an episode from The Simpsons. This actually reminds me of an actual episode of The Simpsons that actually aired during the second season. A really old episode of The Simpsons. It was Marge. What happens is Maggie, the baby daughter, sees an episode of Itsy and Scratchy, the cartoon that airs during the Krusty the Clown show. And it's the Itsy and Scratchy show is really violent, and they're always hitting each other with mallets and blowing each other up. And this cartoon Itsy and Scratchy is extremely violent, and Maggie the baby watches an episode and ends up imitating what she sees on Itsy and Scratchy by smacking Homer over the head with a mallet. So Marge decides that she's going to boycott Itsy and Scratchy and start a letter writing campaign against the producers of Itsy and Scratchy. And what happens is she puts enough pressure on the producers of Itsy and Scratchy to get them to end all the violence on that cartoon, to take out all the violence on that cartoon. And all of a sudden, now Itsy and Scratchy, the characters on that show, are all of a sudden a couple of pussies, and they're not, and they're all friendly, and they're making lemonade for each other, and they become soft, they become a couple of pussies, and they love each other, and they're not trying to kill each other anymore, and they've become a couple of pussies. So the kids who loved that cartoon once loved that, the viewers, the kids who once loved that cartoon, all of a sudden think that they think that cartoon sucks, and they stop watching it, and they turn it off, and they go outside, and they actually experience life, and they start going outside and start playing outside with their friends, and they stopped watching that cartoon because it sucks now. And they're turning it, and they start turning it off. And right now, it looks like The Simpsons is headed in that direction. It looks like Hank Azaria recently went on Stephen Colbert and said that, that the producers of The Simpsons are thinking about putting more, having a more diverse writing staff, and having like Indian Americans in the writing staff, and the producers of The Simpsons are thinking about more diversity on the writing staff, and they're thinking about making the show more diverse and changing the character of Apu, they're considering all these options, getting rid of Apu altogether, and that's exactly what's going to. And so it looks like it's heading for that direction. It looks like the producers of The Simpsons are bowing to pressure from these PC busybodies to, get rid of Apu, or change Apu, or whatever, or get an actual Indian American to do the voices of Apu. So they're putting all this pressure on the producers of The Simpsons, and it looks like the producers of The Simpsons are going to end up bowing to pressure. It looks like it's headed that way. And, so life will probably end up entertaining art in this instance. And what happened to Itsy and Scratchy will probably actually happen to The Simpsons in real life. You'll have viewers who watch this show for years, for decades, all of a sudden they're going to stop watching this show because it sucks now. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about The Simpsons. The Simpsons have sucked for years. Like, at least ever since the year 2000. And I say, instead of getting rid of Apu or changing Apu or doing whatever, I think it's time for The Simpsons to finally go off the air. That's what I think. The fact that this show, and the fact that this show has gone on since 1989 is ludicrous. It's insane. That's ridiculous. And this show should have been canceled. The Simpsons should have went off the air years ago. In the year 2000, they should have taken that show off the air. But for some reason, because its fans refused to admit that the show started to suck, and because and some of these fans are TV critics, by the way, they refuse to admit that the show sucks now. This show has gone on this long, and it's ridiculous, and it's ludicrous. And the show should have been canceled years ago, like in the year 2000. It shouldn't have gone on for like 29 years. That's insane. But finally, with this sudden controversy over Apu, maybe now is the time to finally take this show off the air and put this show out of its misery. Really, this show should have been canceled years ago. It's long past time to put it out of its misery, and I think now is finally the right time to do that. So I say, instead of getting rid of Apu or changing Apu or whatever, it's time to, let's give The Simpsons a rest, okay? Finally, let's put it out of its misery. Let's call it a day. My message to the producers of The Simpsons is, let's call it a day already, okay? Let's put this show out of its misery. And while we're at it, let's put Family Guy and South Park out of their misery too. As much as it pains for me to say that, I love South Park, but it's time for that show to go off the air too. So it's time for all those shows to go off the air finally. Take them all out of their misery. That's all I have to say, and